Well, it's time to get back to work, and we understand that. So another big game on the road, a conference game at Pittsburgh that we need to get ready for. A solid opponent that has played good football. I know they haven't won as many this year as they won, but I'm sure they're hungry and they're trying to make things changes to improve, and I'm sure they're going to do it. They got a good, solid defense. Coach Narduzzi is known for being really good on defense, and we've got to get back to reality and get back to work and understand that if we don't put the work in, we're not going to win. That's just how it works. So if we don't understand that, it'll bite us in the rear end. I've been there before. We had 3 top 5 wins at Purdue in 6 years, and every time we won, the next week we lost. So I understand how this game works. Hopefully our players do. We just got to concentrate on one game at a time, and Pittsburgh is a great challenge ahead of us.
Yeah, you just mentioned it. When you have everybody telling you how great you are and what a big win it is, what kind of things can you do to get your players grounded again?
Well, luckily for us, we talk about it all the time, so it's not like we're just going to first bring it up this week. We always have believed in a one-game season. Like I said before, I know from a public relations standpoint that's boring, but it's just the reality. Like if you don't behind closed doors work your butt off to try to win one game at a time, you're not going to win. It's just other teams are too good. We understand we've had 3 games this year that have gone right down to the wire. 2 of them we had to come back to win on. One we had to kind of withstand a goal line stand to win the game. So that's 3 of 6. And then, every game's going to be tough. And if our guys don't understand that, we're going to have some issues. But I think we've handled it well to this point. We got some good leadership. We've played in some games that have gone down to the wire, and I think we've hung in there. So we have to expect that, this week's going to be the same deal, and we have to be ready to play for 60 minutes.
Jeff, kind of along the same tracks, you had talked about, I think, a few weeks ago about the Illinois team that you're a part of that went 6-0 and then lost 6. I guess, like you mentioned with Purdue and that, I guess, how do you take that perspective and really kind of like hone it in on this season and what you guys are doing right now?
Well, and I forgot about that part as well. You are correct. We were 6-0 and lost the next 6 games. So, that's just how college football works. And unless you're a perennial powerhouse, you're not going to get away with any other thoughts. So I just think our guys watch video every week. They watch other college football teams. They see other teams barely squeak by and win that probably should win by more if you go by, statistics and those type of things. And they know how it works. And I think, I'm sure it won't be great weather. We've got to be ready for the elements. We've got to be ready for a hungry team that's going to make some changes on offense to try to get things sparked. So there'll be some uncertainties that we're not for sure of that we have to be ready for that. And then, of course, on defense, they always have been aggressive and, put a lot of guys in the box and stop the run and try to make you throw it over their heads. So, that'll present us challenges that we have to be ready for.
If all those ones at Purdue you were talking about, they're all different teams, obviously, different situations. Did you learn anything, though, about how you will practice this week? Will you do anything different as far as on the field when you get guys out there?
I don't think we'll change up a whole lot. I think we've got a pretty good routine down now that has been adjusted over the years that tries to not only prepare for the next opponent, but take the things that we've made miscues on and try to fix them. And that's not only on the field, that's coaching-wise. We have to make sure we make some small changes to things that have not worked as well and fix those. And then, of course, we do little things in practice, like we're going to, work on guarding the deep ball and make sure that we don't panic and we stay in good position and trust it. We're going to practice catching the deep ball and do some things over and over again that I believe in that helps us prepare. But I just think every week the package has to be slightly tweaked, built around your strengths. And if we're not slightly tweaking it, others are going to catch on. So, we've got to do a good job coaching. Like I said, we've raised the bar here a little bit with this past win that, if you want to be good, you've got to back it up every week. And if you can't back it up every week, then you're really not that good.
Jeff, Brock hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but he's been so solid for you. When he missed that field goal at the end of the first half, Network showed you were obviously upset, but I saw you kind of went up to him. What did you say to him at that point, and how impressed are you with the way he's able to respond? Come back, hit 4 field goals in the second half.
Well, Brock's not your prototypical kicker. Brock man, he does a lot to be able to kick field goals, extra points, kickoffs, punts. There's not many kickers across the country who do all those things. So this guy is tough. He works really hard. He's a good athlete. He could probably play other positions, and you can actually coach him hard. So really with Brock, it's just a matter of whenever I see him miss, he doesn't hit the ball right in the meat of his foot and hit it solid. You know, sometimes you just try to place it and try to punch it through there. And like, I'm not a kicking expert, but I just kind of tell him what I see. And, you know, anytime he puts his foot in the solid part of the ball, you know, it normally does pretty well. And I think even after that, he started kicking it off in the end zone, giving us touchbacks. He was solid on the rest of his kicks. So I think he's able to be coached in different ways. I know my way with him is just to kind of tell him what I see, and I wanted to make sure I told him what I saw. But, you know, you can't just try to be too perfect sometimes. You got to cut it loose, and when he cuts it loose, he's really good.
Yeah. If you believe the news coming out of Pittsburgh, Jerkovich has been benched and moved to tight end. They might play this Canadian kid who's only played one game this year. What's the difference between those two quarterbacks? Have you seen enough of the second kid, and how will Pitt be different depending on which one plays?
Well, it'll be different. And when I was at Purdue, we actually recruited the quarterback they're starting now. So he has talent. Went to Penn State, I think, and started off. And trust me, I'm sure he's dying to get his shot to prove himself. So this was a four-star quarterback who was talented, and I'm sure they're going to rally around him. And that means what they've always believed in, playing solid, tough defense, running the football, a little bit of play action off of it, and then having their quarterback manage the game. So I'm sure you see new quarterbacks emerge every week around the country, but I know this one has talent. We recruited him, so you know we're going to have to make sure we're ready to go. I'm sure they're going to be fired up and understand, you know, sometimes when your back's against the wall, you come out fighting and scratching and clawing, and if we're not ready to match that, it'll be a long plane ride home.
How much would you say this team has taken on your personality in the context of moving forward, how they will handle the success, the pats on the back, the high ranking now?
I think to this point they've done a good job, and I do think we have some veterans that have experience that you know want to win. And I think when you want to win, you're willing to listen, adjust, display your own personality, and then you know ride it out to game day and cut it loose. And I think that you know when we talk about you know basically being the team that plays the hardest, the hardest, the toughest, and the smartest every week. And those three things, if we don't win that battle, we're not going to win. And those are visible by the common fan's eye. I think they understand that. And I think because of that, they have played hard, and they have played to the end. And they, you know, have displayed the ability to hang in there when things aren't going well and continue to believe in each other and cut it loose. So I just think you teach as much as you can. You hope that people, you know, want to win as much as all of us do in the room. And I think if you have that same hunger and desire, and you do those three things that we said while we're trying to run our plan and all those things, you know, good things will normally happen. And without question, we have to be able to continue to do that every week. Our wins don't show up in the win column.
Different people respond differently to success. Is there a general feeling that you have that are guys more motivated when they're winning? Do they show up earlier, or are they inclined to coast?
Well, a lot of things can happen with that. You know, I think that we talk a lot about when things go well, if you allow people to pat you on the back during the season and enjoy it, then you've just wasted some valuable moments that others are working hard. At the same time, if things aren't going well and you've listened to people tell you what you can't get done, and you've allowed it to affect your hunger to go out there and you want to give in easier, well, then you're not going to win as well. So I just think behind closed doors, we talk about those things a lot. It's nothing extravagant. It's nothing complicated. It's truly what we believe in, what I believe in. And, you know, I know how this game works. I've been doing it long enough as a player and coach to know that while you may be feeling good about yourself one week, all it takes is one more bad week, and the whole tide turns the other direction. So we've got to have that same hunger and that same work ethic and that same desire to want to win. I do think, to this point, it's all I can judge it on. We've come ready to play, and we put in good effort. But, there's still half the season left. So, from 6-0 to 0-6 to winning big games to losing the next week, I know how it works, and we have to be ready to, attack this with the same vengeance that we always have.
All that stuff said, last week it was different. I mean, storming the field, you beat Notre Dame on national TV. How did you celebrate that win? Was it any different than any other win you've had?
You know what? In general, probably not. Was I happy? Was it a great moment for us? Did I maybe smile a little bigger? Yeah, sure I did. I mean, it was a great accomplishment to win that football game. We worked hard at it. It was hard to get to 5-0 and get to everything riding on that game, and to have a great team coming in our venue with a sellout crowd. I understood not only did we want to win, but our fans wanted to win, and the city did. So we had to do our part to try to make that work. So, yes, it was you could breathe a little bit and enjoy it. But as you know, it's during the season. Obviously, you'd love for that to be the last game of the year, but it's not. We have 6 full more games left to prove what we're worth and our value, and the tide can change very quickly. And like I said, it's not like it hasn't. It's changed very quickly on me a lot of times. So I've been there when it has. And if you're not ready to defend that off and still have the same fear of losing and the same desire to want to win, then you know what? You're not going to win on Saturday.
Two-part defensive question. We've talked a lot about your corners, and you knew you had 2 good corners, but the 2 safeties you have settled on and have been out there the most have really played at a high level the last few weeks. Can you talk about that? And then getting Mason back and what he did the other night on the line, how that helped.
Well, a lot of things have gelled together very well. I do think it starts with our 2 starting corners. They're solid veterans. They guard guys. They give us the ability to ask that quarterback to hold on to it longer. We ask them to challenge routes, no matter what the coverage is. We're gonna challenge routes, and they do a good job of understanding that. But yet, still, we don't want to get beat over the top. But we do want to be aggressive. So when that happens, and you're able to take away the outside receivers and really box things in from there, you can do more things. It's allowed us to get more pressure on the quarterback, and while we have been more aggressive in our packages, when you're guarding guys on the outside and you're funneling things inside, we start to land and we start to make those tackles and affect the quarterback. Our safety play has played off of it. I think Devin Neal does exactly what we ask. He's in the right position at the right time. He'll tackle, and if you throw it to him, he's going to catch it. So he's done everything we ask and more. He's been an overachiever. He's played football. He cares. He wants to win. He works really hard. Cam has come in and provided us some good elements as well, and I think we have some backup at that position now that are healthy that maybe haven't played as much lately, Joss and D'Angelo, but it's because they've been injured for a couple weeks. So they're working themselves back into it, and they'll be back out there, and we expect them to play very well also. But I do think our linebackers have played downhill and have made tackles. And, of course, we've been able to apply some pressure with our front 4 and our second front 4 and rotate those guys in and put them in some different positions as well, especially with Ashton moving him around. And, you do those things, you play aggressive, but it starts with our 2 corners saying, you know what, I'm going to guard my area and guard my man. And so I just think we've fed off that, and it's definitely, we've improved greatly throughout 6 games. In our last 2 games, we've really played at a high level on defense.
Jeff, Jawhar's said the past couple of weeks that he feels he's been flying under the radar pretty nationally. That's probably not going to be the case anymore after that game. How are you guys getting ready to see opposing defense kind of maybe hone in on him a lot more, and with the running back room, maybe them stepping up a little bit more as well?
Well, we work hard on developing playmakers throughout the week and even on game day. And without question, Jawhar and Jamari have done an outstanding job, and I'm sure teams are going to try to take them away. I think we've worked hard to develop the rest of the running backs, and Maurice and Isaac, they provide value to us. We got to make sure we use them. I think that the other receivers continue to work and improve and give us value. And at some point, they're going to make some big plays. Boston College, they did, and I know in games coming down the line that they will as well. So I do think that we're confident that we can spread the ball around when we need to, and yes, we need to. We need to make sure that we're utilizing all of our players. They all work hard. Our tight ends are getting better, but without question, teams will try to take away your best players, and you have to have a plan for it.
Kind of expounding on that, when you have 9 guys catch passes, I think it was the second time you've done that. How much does that kind of help keep everybody engaged too, knowing that at any minute they could get it?
Well, it's extremely valuable, and we talk about it quite a bit, and I think our players know. Hey, we're not really telling our quarterback who to throw to. I mean, we're going to call play, and yes, every once in a while somebody might be the first progression, but if they play a certain coverage, he's not going to be the first progression. So they all have to run the routes hard. They all have to gain the confidence of the quarterback in practice and run the routes full speed, get open, make the catch, do things good and when we're just running drills and develop that confidence that the quarterback has in him. And I think he does. Those guys got to be ready to run routes, get open. They're going to have to make plays for us in order for us to win games moving forward. Our tight ends are going to have to continue to improve and give us value. Joey made a great catch on the sideline that sparked us. That was a tremendous catch and an outstanding throw, and we're going to have to get them involved. And our running backs, even more than Jawhar, are going to have to continue to get valuable yards in the run game and catch the football in the backfield. So I just think we talk a lot that, hey, any given day, your number can be called. You have to be ready. I told him a story when I was a third-team quarterback for the Niners. Normally when you're the third-team quarterback, you're the last one that didn't get cut. You're not going to get in a whole lot, but you better be ready when your number's called. So you can't just take the year off, even though it can be, trust me, a backup quarterback's a great position at that level because you're not on the field a lot, but yet they pay you for doing that. So you can't lull yourself to sleep because if you do get a chance, you better be ready or that backup position will be gone next year. So, I was with the Niners. Elvis Gerback was hurt. We're 5-2. We go to play the Oilers, who are 5-2, and I told them this is the Houston Oilers, not the Tennessee Titans. So if y'all don't remember that, and they were good, and I'm the backup for that week because Elvis has gone down, and guess what? Steve Young gets hurt the first series, so I actually have to grab my helmet and put it on and go in the game. And fortunately, I played fairly decent. We won the game, and it gave me about 3 more years in the league because of one good game. So I'm like, man, when the game was over. But you know what? It was probably one of the most rewarding games I've ever played in because, man, the team was patting me on the back after. They're thankful. Here, this one guy comes in and helps us win a game that was meaningful. So I said, you got to be ready because, at any point you're going to have to contribute. And when you do, it can be the most meaningful moments of your life. But if you're not ready, man, it can be a disappointment. So you can't get down if you're not playing. You can't get down if you're not getting the ball. You can't get down if you're not getting the reps you want because at some point it's going to happen. And when it does, you got to take advantage of it.
Jeff, to your point, you have Amari who now has more rushing yards than he's had his first 2 years. Then you have also Jawhar who can catch passes coming out of the backfield. How much does that versatility allow you guys to do with the offense?
Well, I think we have playmakers, and they work really hard, and our goal is to try to get them as many touches as we can. I think it's important that your best players get so many touches, or others, you try to get them touches, and you allow them a chance to make plays. And every week is different. We have to be able to adjust. I think in order to play championship-level football, you have to be able to throw the ball and run the ball, and you can't be one-dimensional. So. Because at some point you're going to be down, you're going to have to throw the ball. At some point they're going to stack the box, you're going to have to be able to throw the ball. At some point they're going to play coverage, you got to be able to run it. So you have to be able to do both, and you have to be able to adjust it throughout the game based on how the defense is playing and have answers, which we've been pretty good at that at times. Other times I think I haven't been as good, where we've got to be able to adjust to what we're seeing and utilize all those playmakers, and they have to be ready to go every week because – at any point they could be the difference maker in the game.
You guys have obviously finished games better than they started. Has the challenge been more about focus, or is it just a matter of adjustments, the typical adjustments you make in a game?
Well, football is a great game because what can seem simple is very can be complicated behind the scenes because you've got to be good at what you do. You've got to improve every week on what's happened. Every week is different, and you think you know and have answers, but different things pop up, and you got to be able to adjust quickly. So I just think you take every week, you take the games you've had, you try to improve upon those, and utilize that. For example, I think Jack, we needed him to. This past week, hey, you got to throw the ball away a little bit sooner. You can't allow every body part of your body to hit the ground other than your nose before you throw it away because you're going to get hurt and bad things are going to happen. So we worked on doing that. You've got to, if the play's not open or I call something that didn't work or the receiver falls down and they cover it, you've got to throw it away or you got to step up and run and get yards. And you know what, man, he was sharp and efficient. He did what we needed him to do. He managed the game. He got completions. He scrambled when he had to. If it was there, he threw it. If it wasn't, he threw it away. He kept us in drives. He was accurate when he needed to be. And that's the type of leadership we need from that position. And then, of course, you take every position and you do the same things. The receiver's got to be precise on the routes. They got to know the slight adjustments we have. They got to be able to get off press and get open. At the offensive line, the game before, there were a couple times where, we needed to protect the inside more, and we're fanning out when the inside pressure's coming, and we got to adjust that. We've got to protect the inside, and we've got to have answers when they're bringing everybody protection-wise as well. So I just think you take everything that's happened. You understand other people watch film. They're going to try to incorporate some things that have worked, so you have to have an answer for that. And I just think, it's different every week, and you've got to, identify things with your players and coaches and work to get better at them and then get ready for the next game.